My name is Vic Chapman and I'm talking to Brady Prescott, who is a second year student at COFA.
My mum was probably the one who pushed me to move to Orange and study, and to push my, education, broaden it and so on.
But any particular teacher?
It's probably both my high school art teachers that I both loved. My one in Ngiyampaa, so back home in Broken Hill, she was very, gave us the paint and the canvas to paint on and, let us explore our own ways. Where it wasn't until I went to Orange that I had structure and control, and probably when I decided that I wanted to go into art teaching was when I went to Orange, my Kinross. In my first high school there was a lot of us, so there was about 40 Aboriginal kids in my school. It wasn't until I actually went to Orange and where the number decreased, and there was 6 of us throughout the whole of uni year 7 till year 12, with only I think one Aboriginal kid graduating before I did, of course. So the numbers were definitely down at my old, in my school at Orange.
Was there any noticeable difference in attitude of teachers towards Indigenous students?
I always compare when I go to high school in Broken Hill, when I went to high school in Orange. When I was in Broken Hill, everyone, it wasn't really a matter of, oh, you're Aboriginal or you're not Aboriginal. It was a very clean playing field. You were treated as anyone else. Whereas when I went to Orange, I found that because me and the couple other girls went there as an Aboriginal program, we got that special treatment, I'd say. And so they understood that we were Aboriginal, and some teachers used it as a positive way to try and enforce our education and help us, whereas some of them somewhat used it as a bad thing that we were there on that educational program.
So there was a negative aspect.
Yeah, there was that
some,
negative.
Some teachers.
Yeah. I try and go back to my community as much as I can, but it's 14 hours away, so it's a bit of a drive or a bit of a fly. But once I'm there, it's home to me, and the community, I love the community, and the community loves me. That sounds cheesy. But no, I think you have to have that strong connection with your community. Kinross, when I went there, when I first went there, there was no Indigenous programs, there were no support systems or anything. There was one lady who was an Aboriginal teacher, but there was no sort of that networking and all that sort of stuff. We then got the opportunity to create this networking, so we had our little Indigenous support system where the Indigenous kids could get together and we could help with them, the senior kids could help with the junior kids with their homework and all that sort of stuff. So throughout high school, especially when I went to Kinross, there wasn't any, and so we had to pretty much build up that networking system and that support.
So basically there was no...
Yeah, there was none there until I sort of started one up.
And despite the fact that there was an Aboriginal education, Aboriginal studies policy,
yeah,
mandatory one.
Yeah, well, they did teach it, but besides that, there was no actual support system for Aboriginal students.
And I think that policy says that even if there are no Indigenous people attendance or enrolment, that that policy should be worked on.
Yeah.
Why did you come to study art education?
Well, when I first decided what I wanted to be when I grew up, I had this fascination with architecture and urban design, and I knew and still do absolutely